me because you weren't respectful from the damn chat. So how crazy would it be for me to believe that someone who's been disrespectful as fuck from the chat, right, is going to somehow be respectful on the panel? Why would I do that? Well, no, you had the opportunity to be respectful when you hit the damn, when you hit the chat, when you just were right here in the comments. You could have been respectful for the time that you hit here, but you haven't been. Right? So if you're not respectful in your text, why should I think that you would be respectful in your talk? Why would I elevate you to the next level of communication when you can't demonstrate a mastery of the most basic form? And it ain't like you new here. You ain't new. You've been around here. I don't even know why you come back. I mean, I do. You have Dani derangement syndrome. That's what you have. It's easily curable. Just become a fact-based progressive populist and you'll be fine. But you can't do that. So you hear every day. You just hear every day with your Dani derangement syndrome, getting your fix until tomorrow while you resist fact-based evidence and truth. It's the wildest shit I ever seen in my life. So, good morning, everybody. So, for those who don't know how we got to where we are already, no, you haven't come up to my panel because you always act like an ass in the chat. So that's where the fuck you stay. You are correct. If you've been on my panel, it's been so long ago, I don't remember. But the reason you don't come on my panel is because you act an ass in the chat. So I feel no need to elevate your status. That's not difficult to understand. If I thought you had a sincere, genuine interest in having a fact-based discussion, even if it's a discussion that disagrees, even if it's a discussion about, then, you know, we would do that. No, you haven't disagreed. No, you haven't disagreed. No, you've been disrespectful and you've talked shit, just like you was earlier about me. What'd you tell people? No, she doesn't know. You do that shit. I ain't fooling with you today. Nope. Give me a chance. You had one. Your chance was when you came in here and started expressing yourself. Folks, listen, we can have a discussion about all kinds of things in here, and we don't have to agree on everything. But what I don't do is entertain just blatant disrespect. And I'm going to share with you how we already got here in a few minutes that I've been on. Is when Leon requested to come up here. Good morning, Irvette. I said, listen, if you're new to me, put a 1 in the chat. If you've never been in here before, let me share with you how we do things, right? And I said, when I bring you up to the panel, put yourself on mute until I get to you. And I made sure that I said it 2 or 3 times. And the reason I do that is because I want to see if grown-ass, supposedly respectful adults are going to follow just basic guidelines. So that would be, in essence, that would be like me saying to you, oh, you want to become a visitor in my house. So when you come to my house, when you come inside my house, take your shoes off at the door and put them on the rack. Right? And if you hear me say that to you twice, hey, listen, before you come in my house, take your shoes off and put them at the rack by the door. And if you think to yourself, well, my feet ain't dirty, so I don't need to take my shoes off. If you think to yourself, well, my shoes are clean, I don't need to take my shoes off, you already don't fucking understand. And why should I entertain you if you cannot respect the only minute things that I've asked you to do to even enter my house? Next thing I know, your ass gonna come in here and open my refrigerator. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If you can't take your shoes off at the door, why would I let you come in here and put your feet up on my coffee table or open my refrigerator or get a glass? Absolutely not. That's not your house. That's that colonizer mindset. That's what the fuck's wrong with y'all already. What you need, baby? Go ahead. Crazy. No, you can't get a glass of juice. You can ask me if I will give you one, but you can't get nothing for yourself. The only time that you have the freedom to go get something for yourself out of my house is after you've been here enough times that I give you that permission. Y'all be wilding out in these TikTok streets. Like, y'all don't understand. Good morning, Sandra. Y'all behave worse than we teach our children to. And I don't understand it. Conchita, is it just me or is it lagging over here on the other side? And you're not gonna gaslight me and say I'm sorry if we got on the wrong foot. No, we didn't. You've been foot to foot and footing every time you've been in my space, just like that. See, Trader, don't act like somehow we've done had some little minute misunderstanding. No, this is how you behave every time you come in here. We didn't get off on the wrong foot. That's how the fuck I know your name. And I don't really, yeah. Thanks, Conchita. So yeah. No, because I normally ignore your ass in the chat. Or eventually my mods mute you. So let me explain to you all what transpired, and then I'm going to bring some people. So as I explain this, I am going to bring people up to the chat. When I bring you up to the panel, please put yourself on mute until I get to you. All right? That's as simple as I can make it. That is the request. Put yourself on mute until I get to you. Right, Irvette. Which is why ain't nobody fooling with him. Well, I don't know what happened. Okay. So listen, folks, TikTok has been acting crazy lately. I have accepted about 4 or 5 people to come up to this panel, and none of you all are there. So either you requested by accident, or TikTok is tripping. So if you intended or you wanted to come onto the panel, please request again. So I'm going to share with you all what the subject matter was. So as you can see, I have 4 different images back here. I got you, Don one. See those 4 images? And Leon was in the chat making some statements, and so was somebody else. And somebody else said, what did they say? Somebody else said, well, why do you hate Israel? Because you're anti-Semitic. And I said, number 1, I don't quote unquote hate Israel, right? And number 2, if I dislike the government of Israel, who is committing crimes against humanity and war crimes, that does not make me anti-Semitic. And so then, good morning, Macaroni. And so then Leon requested to come up on the panel. And so I absolutely let Leon come to the panel, but I said the same thing to Leon that I said just now, which was very simple. If you come up to the panel, put yourself on mute until I get to you. And he did not do that. So then when I addressed him, Buenos dias, Mr. Barrios, I said, listen, I'm already concerned about what our interaction is going to be. And I'm concerned about what our interaction is going to be because all I did was request that you put yourself on mute until I get to you, and you weren't able to do that. And that makes me concerned that since you couldn't be respectful of that very simple request, that we're not going to have a good exchange. And he said, no, I just didn't think that I needed to because I was the only person up here. And because I'm 57-year-old, I can have a respectful conversation. I'm not going to interrupt you. And I said, see, that's the point. You think that whatever your reasoning was justifies you not doing the very simple thing that I asked you to do. That's the problem. You don't get to determine that you feel like you don't need to do the thing that I asked you to do. This is my damn house, not yours. And so he went to talk about something else. And I said, listen, There are things that I don't do in this space. One thing I don't do is Hasbara. And the other thing that I don't do is use a religious book like the Bible or someone else's religion to determine historical fact, especially in the face of historical documents. And then he said to me, so did Israel withdraw from Gaza in 2005? Now, anybody who actually knows what occurred knows that they did not withdraw in totality, right? And when I said no, he said, well, you're a fucking liar. And then I said, well, I thought you was going to be respectful. Right? I thought that's what you said. And now here you are already calling me a fucking liar. Okay, so you can either get your shit together, or you can get the fuck out my space. I can meet you with that. No, it's not. Hasbara is not, and you know it's not. You know that Hasbara is not anyone that disagrees with my opinion. No, you know that it is a particular set of talking points. And he started out with one. The very first one that he started out with was, do you condemn October 7th? Which is it's an invalid question. It's not even a real question. Do you condemn October 7th? Do you condemn mass punishment, collective punishment? Do you condemn starving children? Do you condemn pew-pewing children who are coming for food? It is Hasbara. It is literally a talking point. And if you don't know that, then go look it up. And I literally have had conversations with Israelis who will tell me it is in fact a talking point. It is in fact. And listen, I had a young Israeli dude, 19 years old, that I was talking to, and he said to me, listen, if you're going to do this and you're going to have more conversations with people like me who are in Israel, he said, just know that 80-90% of them are going to be quoting Hasbara to you. This is from an Israeli telling me this, and he lives in Israel. He literally said that to me. Most people are not going to admit to you the things that I've said. So so Jenny, in all fairness, how many Americans don't know our own history? So for those of you guys who can't see, Jenny on TikTok said they don't know their own people's histories. Shit, most Americans don't know our history. Most Americans think Columbus actually found this place. Most people don't know in this country that Columbus hadn't even been here. His ass never set foot in the country in what became the United States of America. So I ain't mad at them. Shit, Americans don't know our history. Many of them, the vast majority of them. How many folks in the United States of America actually know that the first 13th Amendment that was proposed that addressed the institution of slavery actually was going to allow slavery to continue to be a legal institution in the states where it already existed? How many people know that the very, very first 13th Amendment that referred to the institution of slavery was going to allow it to continue to exist and be protected from federal interference in the states where it already existed? So it's the wildest thing. So yeah. And then Leon gonna get in the comments. Apparently Leon been listening to Donald Trump too long. He said, despicable woman. So shit, you might as well said nasty woman. They mean the same thing. And guess what? Thank you for the compliment. Appreciate it. The fuck out of here. And I started out like in a really, really like level place today, but miss me with it. So folks, when I bring you up to the panel, put yourself on mute until I get to you. Okay? Y'all wild as fuck out here in these streets. Put yourself on mute until I get to you, folks. You got one shot. You got one shot, trader. And if you fuck it up, you out. Just so you know. And you're not just going to be out for today. You're going to be out from today until Jesus comes back. And it will be the day that Jesus comes back. And alongside of him will be Buddha and Allah and Thor and Athena. Like all the gods will have to come back together. Trader, just I'm letting you know, if you come up on this panel and you act a fucking fool, you will not ever find your way back here until like all of it is done. I'm just telling you. Yes, all of them. It would have to be all of them together. So if he's still in here, I accepted him to come up here, and he's not here. So yeah. Yeah, like real talk. Now you know I already know you too. What do I think about the situation in Cuba right now? That's such a generic statement. So I have no issue talking about Cuba and have done so extensively. What I find is productive, and I'm just going to offer you this, is that if you go into spaces and you really want to get people to discuss the issues that surround Cuba, that type of question isn't the most productive. Oh dear God in heaven. Give me 1 second, y'all. Okay. So what I would offer is maybe asking a question that is specific. So if you want to talk about it, then I would say ask, how do we feel about the blockade? How do we feel about the loss of electricity? How do we feel about the meetings between the United States military and Cuban military officials? Like all of those things, right? That way you can get a very specific reply to your question, and then you can generate a like a more robust discussion that's specific to the different components and the different issues. That's just what I would recommend. Okay. Good morning, James. How are you? What you got for me?
Okay, you got to forgive me. I got these big hands and they don't operate right sometimes trying to match these small buttons.
That's okay.
When you're 6'6", everything's big.
I got it. What you got, sir?
I got two things. One is, and I know you are well versed on things and you pay attention. I just find that our president is so uneducated. And I guess because I'm a retired teacher, when he says things, they just go to my bones and hurt me. And he said the other day that a ceasefire in
Don't repeat it. Don't repeat it. I know what he said, and I know that it was fuckery and ridiculousness. But the reason why I said don't repeat it is this. So, do you all remember we have been talking about in this space in Finland? So you would love this as a retired teacher, James. So in Finland, one of the things that they do is they start teaching children in like first grade how to spot misinformation and propaganda, right? And the team of individuals that helped write and develop this curriculum, one of the things that they said is this. They said, when someone is saying something that isn't true, that isn't accurate, the first way that you combat that misinformation is by not repeating it. And one of the things that the mainstream media does and Democrats do way too much is repeat the absolute fuckery that he says. Stop repeating it because we know it's not true. So instead of repeating what he said, right? I think it would be more powerful to be able to say the president of the United States was asked what a ceasefire is. And in the absence of being given, of providing an accurate response, let's look it up together. Let's actually look at what a ceasefire truly is.
Right.
And that way you don't repeat the falsehood, because when you repeat it, people stick. It sticks with people. So just say, he seemed to be unable to do that. So let's look at what an accurate definition of ceasefire is. Right?
And you're so right, but it is so amazing that people have to reinterpret everything he says so that we know what he says when I heard what he said.
Yeah,
And,
that's they're not
and it's
really
just
reinterpreting it. Don Juan, don't feed that bullshit. You know better. Listen, if Demure Girl wants to have a conversation with me about that dumbass statement that she just put in the chat, she can come up on my panel. What she will not do, though, is keep typing in all caps, because as a moderator, I ask you not to do that and respect my folks that are vision impaired. Sorry, James, didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
And it seems to be that whole administration. I mean, we have empowered a country that we wanted to act a certain way, and so we made them worse than they were several months ago. And not that I have anything against them, but it's like you giving them more than what they had before we started the situation, because now they know effectively how they can put us in a jam, and put the world in a jam. And I'm not talking against them. I'm just saying we made the situation worse by our behaviors, and now we don't know how to get out the situation. And we have disrupted the world with our poor decision making.
Yeah. So I don't even know that I would even call it. I don't even know that I would call it decision making. One of the things that I believe that happens a lot in this administration is a lack of impulse control, right? And a lot of just spontaneous reactions that are oftentimes driven from ego and narcissism, right? And that's where I think we've gotten a lot of where we are now is caused by that very thing, right? So it's crazy. Yeah.
We go from one extreme situation to another without fixing the situation we started. You look at Venezuela when we were booming these people fishing boats or whatever kind of boats it was. We went from that to snatching their leader, and now to this. What happened to the issue with the boats?
It was never about the boats.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's why you could completely leave it and not do anything to say, because if they were doing it then, they're still doing it now. I mean, we didn't stop anything.
But because that was never the issue.
Right.
Right. That was never the issue. The issue was never stopping whatever was on the boats. That was never the issue. Right. And so I think it's important for people to really know that. And so for me, that's why it's not surprising.
But people were unalived. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, yeah.
You can't. They're very callous about the fact they unalived people and moved on like it's no big deal. Just like all these people being unalived in this particular situation.
Yeah, but
it's just crazy.
But that has always been the way of colonizers. That's always been the way of especially the Western world. Right? It's always been that way. Like they've always gone. I mean, just think about it. If you look back at history, whether you were talking about the transatlantic slave trade, whether you're talking about the Trail of Tears, whether you were talking about the actual the Congolese genocide that was committed by King Leopold II, right? Where you had between 13 and 15 million Congolese Africans that were slaughtered, right? It has always been that way. in terms of doing what you need to do for the sake of what you need to do it and then going on. Right?
Right.
So none of it surprises me. None of it makes me feel, I don't go, oh my God, I can't believe. Of course I believe. Like, to me, to sit back here and it be 2026 and for me to act like I am in any way, shape, or form shocked at the continuation of people behaving in the way that they have been behaving since they started living. You know what I mean? Like, why would I? There's no surprise. There's no shock. There's no whatever.
But in terms of our country, what upsets me the most is we went from a realistic time of living in peace with Barack Obama to chaos.
Who said we were living in peace under Barack Obama?
Well, what I'm saying by peace is meaning it wasn't chaotic. I understand that he made decisions and people were put, but it seemed reasonable. The existence was more reasonable than it is now.
Yeah, but see, that's the other thing. People liked the fact that it was the false sense of normalcy, right? And that's why you see even people now that are very, very averse to saying, I don't want to go back to what was the normal. I don't want to go back to what was the establishment. I don't want to go. Give me 1 second. So, because you're going, Felipe, can you come to the panel? Because you're typing a whole lot in this chat, and I cannot find an ounce of relevancy to the subject matter. So I need to see if maybe I'm just like missing something and I'm not understanding what you're attempting to communicate, or if you just need to go ahead and be muted. I'm trying to figure it out and I want to do it in a nice way. So if you could come to the panel so that I could get a little clarity about what you're trying to express, that would be great. Of course. Hey, look at me. Remember, don't stand in the chair, okay? Okay. Sorry, James. I can't do it anymore.
But I guess what I'm saying in terms of, I didn't wake up, even during Biden's, I didn't wake up every morning wondering what shoe was falling today.
Right.
Okay? I could get through a few days or weeks before something happened that upset me. And I could feel comfortable, that we were being led by somebody with some intellect.
Yeah.
Okay, I know, your leader's always going to do things or make decisions that you might disagree with, but it ain't every day.
Right.
Or you force yourself to listen to them and they make sense.
Yeah, in all fairness, though, we had that under the Biden-Harris administration.
Yes.
Right. And when I say we had that, I mean as a whole. Right. The craziness, one of the things, so let me just say this. So one of the things that historically has been the case is whoever was in the White House and whoever was leading the executive branch and our governmental departments, what they understood was, in order to help maintain a sense of balance for both the American people and our stature and status in the world, things needed to be done in a certain way, right? And we simply don't have that anymore, right? We literally have the executive branch is being run like the worst frat house on campus.
Yeah.
And the world sees it as such, right? The FBI director literally, come on, y'all. Like,
I have to admit something. He's the first man. I've interviewed people or been a part of interviewing panels. He's the first man I ever saw that I would eliminate him from contention just by looking at him. I mean, he has to be one of the weirdest looking people I've ever seen.
I don't even care about it's not his looks for me. It literally is. I've listened to him and I've listened to the interviews that he gave years ago, and I've listened to him and I watched him ahead of time, right? And if you literally look at the way that our country is being run right now, our executive branch is being run like a frat house, right? Because there's no other explanation for Kid Rock coming to address the Pentagon. There's no other explanation for Kid Rock being in an ice bath in blue jeans with the health and human services secretary. Like, what the fuck are we doing right now? Right? There's no explanation for the things, right? A UFC match on the White House lawn.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I just need everybody to understand.
I try to ignore that. See, it just, and that's what I'm telling you. We go from chaos to chaos. Why in the world would you want to change the Gulf of America? The Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. So what's the point? What does that benefit?
It doesn't.
You go to Iceland. What does that benefit? I mean, it goes from foolishness to little foolishness to big foolishness to just stupid stuff. So
this is when you have to understand the two different. So listen, this is when you have to understand the two parts of what's happening right now. So what you have is you have, how can I say this? You have the organization leaders, right? And the organization are the folks who are running everything in the background. And then you have the frat house, which are the people that are being put in charge of different, like the frat house is the entertainment piece that keeps everyone distracted from what the organization is doing in the background. You follow me? So in my opinion, there's a criminal organization that is operating in the backdrop, right? And that criminal organization has all types of intersectionality, right? With the Heritage Foundation and the Federalist Society and ALEC and all of that, right? And then you have the frat house, the frat bros. The frat bros are the folks that are the distraction. Those are the folks chugging beers, renaming shit, all doing ice baths and all of that. And I think it's really important. You all have got to stop giving Stephen Miller too much credit. Stephen Miller's only asset is no moral compass and bigotry. That's all Stephen Miller has, is no moral compass and bigotry. The masterminds behind this thing are Russell Vought and the Heritage Foundation. That's it. Just so everyone understands that that's where we are. And Stephen Miller's not calling anybody shot. He's just the bigot that they found to implement that portion of the agenda.
And the Heritage Foundation, which I don't know a whole lot about, wants chaos?
Yes, they literally said that they need to burn down the damn country. They need to burn down Washington to save the country. Yes. They literally said, we desire to have chaos. We desire to burn it all down, because you got to understand, guys, if they burn it all down, if they get it to be in the worst place it's ever been, people will be grateful for whatever scraps they throw back. Working class people will become grateful for whatever scraps they give back, while meanwhile they have established the type of world that works for them and their friends and their cronies.
But it is corrupted and ruined years of relationships that can't be rebuilt, possibly can't be rebuilt.
And they don't care because the people that they have put in, I need for y'all to understand, they have zero intention of ever wanting it to go back to the way it was. I mean, you have to understand when the executive branch, when the executive branch appoints tech company CEOs as fucking lieutenant colonels in the military, you need to understand there are no lines. There are no boundaries. They're not trying to go back to the status quo. They're not trying to establish different relationships. They did that a year ago, folks. How many people did not know that? Because that's the thing. So I'm just saying, you cannot look at um, you cannot look at it like at an irrational group of people and apply normal societal expectations and guidelines and borders and guardrails on them. They don't exist for them.
It's frustrating and amazing being a 65, thinking, okay, I'm going. It's my time to enjoy life to the fullest. I get disrupted and frustrated, wondering, will I get my country back, or will my country ever get back on the road to being the country I wanted it to be?
Yeah. And my thing is this. I don't know that the country was as much on the road as people thought it was going to be. And I would also say that um, people forgot a necessary lesson, which is that power concedes nothing without demand. So we stopped demanding that the country stay on that path. The only time the country has ever been on a path towards equality or equity or any of those things has been when the people demanded it. When the people do not demand it, power concedes nothing.
And I have to tell you, I just thought if there was a paradise, I assumed that when Barack Obama became president twice, that we had turned the corner.
Hell no.
I just thought we.
But why did you think that, James? Because here's my thing: if what we know to be historically accurate, is that white Western individuals have been able to own us, beat us, kill us, have sex with us, give birth to our babies, and all of that, why would we think just electing someone who we thought could make them more money and was also light skinned? Because listen, they didn't when nobody listen, that wasn't Samuel L. Jackson in the White House, that was Barack Obama. And you saw the way they talked about his wife. If you ever get it twisted, if you ever think that brown man being the president equaled an end to racism, you need to pay attention to the way they talk about his dark-skinned wife.
Well, the issue is, in this, I'm 65. In the 70s, when I became old enough to vote, or in early 80s, and I voted for a man not knowing that he wasn't going to be the president, but I wanted to show that we had power, okay? Then we get to the point where a man of my color actually won. That was unseeable. I didn't, at the time it happened, it was unseeable because I was a Clinton fan. And I got turned into a Barack Obama fan because I believed it was possible. And then it happened. Mm-hmm. So I was confused about where I thought we were. But what I think it did was uncover the deep racism that existed but had been put in the closet for a minute.
So here's my thing. I don't know that racism has ever been put in the closet, ever. I think it just became socially unacceptable. Like it wasn't something that we talked about outside of the home, right? And I think what happened is a couple of different things. And they all kind of, it was because I want y'all to understand something. They understood the moment that they were in. Why do you think Republicans were so ready with the talking point that Barack Obama was the deporter in chief? Why do you think they were so ready with that talking point?
To mask what they were wanting to do.
I mean, but my point is, do we not think that when Barack Obama got the nomination, to be the Democratic nominee for president of the United States, do we not think that there were discussions about what the policy objectives had to be under that administration?
Right.
Mm-hmm. And what they needed was they needed a black man that would deport brown people.
But he did it in a fashion.
He did it in a shitty fashion. It was legal, but it was fucking sucked. Slavery was legal, James, but it sucked. Listen, I want us to, we cannot make it, I refuse to make excuses for Barack Obama. It was legal, but so the fuck was slavery. I don't care that it was legal. It was wrong. We deported a shit ton of people with no due process. And that violates the Constitution. I don't care who did it. It's a fact. And I'm not going to make excuses because he was brown and he did it. It was wrong. It violated the rights of those human beings. It did. I don't give a shit if it was legal. There are states in this country, there are 34 states in this country right now where it is legal to marry a 16-year-old minor. That don't mean you ought to do that shit.
True.
Okay. We got to stop saying, oh, but it's legal, because that's what they say. They justify all kind of shit right now, but it's legal according to law. Well, law is flawed because law is ran by mankind, by humankind, and whoever has the position of power can then put whatever their prejudice is, whatever their bigotry is, whatever their isms are into that law.
But what I guess I'm saying is the moment this man came to presidency, he did things that were just despicable, like separating parents from their children. I mean, that was what was upsetting. You're going to separate the parents from these kids?
Well, so no, let's just send the parents and the children back to horrible places where they came from with no due process. Let's just do that. No, let's not separate them. Let's just send them all back to places that we made economically unstable, that we made unsafe, that we oftentimes made violent and all of that with no infrastructure. Let's just send them all back. Like, the bottom line is both of those solutions fucking suck. And they suck because we have had an establishment in Congress that has been willing to play. So listen, I'm very frank, and this is why I always laugh when people are like, you're paid by the DNC. The DNC don't want to touch my ass because I'm willing to call a thing a thing. Let me be clear. When it comes to domestic policy, the Republican Party and the Democratic Party are very different beasts domestically. When it comes to foreign policy, they damn near the same. And both of them aren't about shit.
Well, I see them as one being reasonable and one being intolerable. Let me say that.
I know because one is palpable, one is more palpable than the other. But that's just because we've been accustomed to it. I don't ever want to become, I no longer want to go back to a place where we will take, oh my gosh. You all do understand that this is exactly what they've done with the for-profit prison system. When you have states in 2026 that engage in forced labor in the prison system, where those people have no choice, they have no say, and in 5 states they have no compensation, that is still slavery in the United States of America, but it's more palpable. Why? Because it's in a prison system and they're guilty of some sort of crime. So surely they deserve not to be treated like a human being. You all, we have a system. I just want you all to understand this. We have a system that says the moment that you do the worst thing on your worst day, we strip you of who you are as a human being. You're not even a person anymore. You're a fucking number. The same way that black and brown people who were enslaved We're no longer human beings. Neither are those folks that are incarcerated. They are numbers. They no longer have names. We treat them as if they are not human beings. They don't deserve to have sunlight. They don't deserve to go outside for more than 30 minutes to an hour every day. What kind of fuck? What are we doing? And then we're surprised when they act less than human. We treat them like caged animals, but then are surprised when they show up in life like that. We don't have a system that wants to lower recidivism. The for-profit prison system is enslaved people that has become acceptable. Because, well, at least they're not out in cotton fields. At least they're not shackled together. At least they're not considered property. At least they're not born into slavery. At least they're not put on in the iron mask in 105-degree heat. At least they're not being hung from trees or having the Bible read to them while their skin is whipped off their backs. At least we're not doing those things, for goodness sake. Dear God, they're getting 3 square meals a day and they have access to a fucking library. Why are they complaining?
But my Democratic Party does treat them more fairly.
How?
I mean, they create. Remember, I don't know if you know this, but I spent 10 years helping inmates get their GED.
And to what end? What does that do for them exactly?
It at least gives them the ability
to do,
once released, to have a sense of education.
To do what? To have a sense of an education? To have a sense of one? I don't care what they have a sense of. What does that do for them? When they go out into a system where they have not been rehabilitated, where their trauma has not been addressed, where they haven't been given a sense of self, where they don't have a pathway to a productive life, when many of them are now, they carry the badge of convicted felon, so they can't get jobs. Now that doesn't, but white collar crimes, now listen, but white collar crimes, listen, them jokers can sit up in the healthcare industry. They can steal billions upon billions and billions of dollars from Medicare, from Medicaid, from TRICARE, knowing that it will come at the expense of people's lives, and they don't spend a fucking day in jail. As a matter of fact, you can rip off the American people and the government, and you can cause people to die at enormous rates and go on to become the fucking governor of Florida and then the senator and the healthcare advisor to the president of the United States.
True.
Because you're white and wealthy.
And stole more money than anybody else in the state of Florida has had with his company prior to becoming governor.
I want you to tell me, but you made a claim, and this is what I want to know. I want to know how the Democratic Party is better for... Hold on, wait, because you made a claim, and I want to dig in. You said that the Democratic Party is better or treats incarcerated individuals and are better for them. And I would like for you to explain that to me. And I would like for you to explain it to me for everybody that had 3 strikes you're out and mandatory minimums under Bill Clinton. I want you to do that for me. Please, okay. I need you to connect that shit because it don't sit well in my heart.
Okay. They created Mason. They taught them bricklaying and masonry while they were in prison under Democrats. We had schools that taught them true skills.
To do what with?
To get involved, to be able to come out and get into construction.
I'm never getting out, James. If I have 3 strikes, I'm fucking out, and I have mandatory minimums that are 50 years.
I understand those that had 3 strikes, you're out.
No, but that was a Democratic policy.
Okay.
Come on now.
Right.
I mean, I really, we gotta have a real talk about this.
We didn't know it was gonna be as bad as it became, and we tried to address that too.
I think that's bullshit. I think they absolutely knew. You cannot tell me that that was Clinton. I just need everybody to understand they stood the fuck up and called young black and brown boys thugs and super predators. For fucking weed, by the way. Now, when they go out here with all this cracked up Sudafed shit,
But didn't they
ain't nobody
address
calling them thugs.
But
Tell me
didn't they
what
address the fact that cocaine and
you know. You gotta say booger sugar.
okay, booger sugar, and what's the one for the rock?
Yeah, but this is my point. But my whole point is simply this. Listen, we listen. We gotta tell the truth and shame the devil. I want you to tell me. I want you to tell me what has, because we know what was done for the C-Rack, right? The little hard, the gemstones, right? Okay. We know what was done in Black communities where that was cheaper than the booger sugar, right?
Right.
Tell me what has been done in white communities where sinus medication has just ran rampant. Tell me the difference in how those people that were making it, selling it, distributing it, tell me the difference in how those folks were treated. I don't see no mandatory minimums for no Sudafed.
But we addressed it by making them equal now. That they don't have the disparity of justice that they used to have. Didn't we come back and fix that issue? That we don't treat those extremely different now?
No.
Okay, I thought we did.
I mean, you'd have to show me where, because I don't see it. Here's the thing, y'all. Well, here's the thing so when it comes to, and y'all know, listen, I'm okay. If you're new to me, you're probably like, what the fuck is she? I thought she was liberal. I am a progressive populist. But what I am not going to do is make excuses for the fucking drunk uncle and the shit he does. I'm not going to make excuses for the creepy uncle that nobody wants to be around, that does what he does and everybody knows that he does it. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not. And there are areas that I am extremely grateful for in terms of what things that the Democratic Party has done with regard to certain issues. I hear you. What I am also saying is we have to stop painting the picture like, and this is just my humble ass opinion, one of the issues that we have with the Democratic Party is we have too many damn Dixiecrats still up in it. We have too many Zionists, Christian Zionists, and we have too many Christian nationalists in the Democratic Party. Those three things. And that's before I even get to the damn sexist and misogynist. And that is why, and I will say this 10 toes down with my full ass chest, this is why progressives need to take over the Democratic Party the same way the Tea Party took over the Republican Party. That's what must happen. Have y'all not seen that the way that they are systematically going after what they began to label as rhinos? And they let them stay in there until they got someone to replace them. Did they not? Did they not? Come on, y'all. Thomas Massey has made it.
I think we're much more critical of the people in our party who create chaos and create issues that we don't agree with. I think we're very critical.
Because they should fucking know better. Ain't that the way it works, James? Aren't you more critical of the people in your life who are supposed to know better? Of course you are. They don't have that excuse.
And we get rid of them. I don't think the Republican Party does it.
I don't think that they do, and I don't expect them to, because I know who they are. But what the Democratic Party has to do, number one, they don't get rid of all of them. They only get rid of the people that they are afraid are going to be a scandal and look bad on them. If they don't think it's going to be if they don't think that it's a scandal they can't overcome, listen, they ain't gonna do shit. Nope, they're gonna say it unless it is one of those sensitive topics. Then they will handle something. But other than that, no. And at the top of all of this, just to be very clear, on the top of all of this is money, first and foremost. It's money, first and foremost. Both parties don't suck, Jedi. I won't say that. What I will say is this. So listen, you all want this binary polarizing discussion. And I'm not doing that. I have the ability to know and accept that human beings are complex creatures and that our parties are going to be representative of that. And so is our country. So what I can do is I can absolutely say, for example, let me see if I could do this in a way that everyone can kind of go, oh, that makes a lot of damn sense, right? So let me see how I want to do this. Okay, so can we all agree that like Scott Peterson is not a great person, or Chris Watts? Take either one of those two names and let's use that as an example, right?
Okay.
Okay. Now I can look at Chris Watts and see, or Scott Peterson and see all of their faults, right? And I can also say, well, that's a better fucking option than Ted Bundy.
I mean, I can understand your
I'm just, listen, we got to stop acting like we don't know. Of course we know. Of course we know.
But I don't see the Democratic Party being nearly that complicit in the corruptive life that has been created by Donald Trump.
You don't?
No. I think we may be shoplifting, but we ain't all right. We ain't nowhere near taking robbing the Brinks.
So I want you to explain to me the Democrats that voted in these confirmation hearings. I want you to explain to me the Democrats that are voting to fund Israel. I want you to explain to me the Democrats that vote and take money from Core Civic. And
we're changing that because people.
No, I don't want to hear we're changing that today. You're saying that they're not as bad. This is 2026.
Right.
So I really need you to understand, because here's what I want you to understand. You are defending a party that could not stand Zoran Mamdani and did everything they could to discourage and to disrupt anybody that was going to select that man. This is a party that will put their money and their power against the people's candidate, against the people, those candidates that are going to do the best for the people. I see it all the time. I see it right now. I see the Democratic Party right now choosing to go against candidates that are primarying the establishment Dems, even though those people have policies that are better for the working class people.
But we're a part of that movement.
What movement?
I've been moved when it comes away from Israel to the Palestinians.
No, but that's not. I'm not only talking about that though. I'm talking about. Listen, I am talking about the fact that the Democratic Party right now, they're against Graham Plattner. They're against Zoran Mamdani. They were against Kat. What's Kat's names in Illinois? Y'all, what's Kat's name in Illinois? What's her name? Come on, y'all. I can't think right now. Yep. Abu too. Yep. What's his name? Yes. Yeah. Katie and Sabrina just said her last name. So listen, I'm talking about the other dude, Cam. I know y'all misspelled it, but you know who I was talking about. Why, right? It's really important. Like, listen, hear me when I say this, because somebody asked me about midterms a second ago. Okay. Listen, somebody asked me, said, Dani, are you voting in the midterms? Of course I am. And I'm going to be very clear about how I'm voting, just so everyone don't get it twisted. Okay. In the primaries is your opportunity to pick your personal preference. Okay. So if your personal preference is Kat or Graham or anybody else that's the progressive democratic socialist whatever, that's you for the primaries. Now if your personal preference does not win the Democratic primary nominee, then you better be voting for whatever fucking establishment Democrat is left, because we must have a Democratic majority in the House and in the Senate in November. That is the shortest, fastest pathway to getting this country upright, to deconstructing the parts of this government that don't work, to shoring up the holes in our systems and our laws that have been exploited, and to setting us up for future success by the time we get to 2032, 34, 36, and 38. That's it. And the thing about it, James, is I can say all of this. Listen, okay, let me see if I can say it a different way. How many of you all have ever been married and had children? Put a 1 in the chat. What's up, happy girl? If you have ever been married to someone and had children with someone, put a 1 in the chat. Now, if you've also been married and had children with someone and then divorced them, right? Because they were a shitty spouse, put a 2 in the chat. Put a 2 in the chat if you have been married to someone, had children with them, and then divorced them.
I did divorce them.
Now listen, how many of you have also been able to say, I married you, I had children with you, and I divorced you because you were not good for me, but you are a fucking great parent. You're a good parent, and I would not take your children from you. I would support your right to have access to your children. I can see the absolute good in you. Just because you are shitty to me doesn't mean you're not good for these kids. I use that example to be able to say we can do more than one thing at a time. I do not have to blow smoke up the Democratic Party's ass to be able to say they are the best choice. They can be the best choice with what I have right now, but I can also hold them accountable and say, you a cheating ass. And the Democratic Party cheats on its base all the time. The Democratic Party cheats on us, and they cheat with corporations, and they cheat with Republicans, and they cheat with foreign governments, and they cheat with lobbyists. They cheat on us all the fucking time. But right now, we're going to stay together for the sake of these kids.
Okay.
Right now, we're going to stay together for the sake of these kids. And then once we get this shit up and we get these kids ready, you get ready to get the fuck up out of here. That's it.
Well, where we go from there, though?
You know, if you asking me, I have an answer.
You gonna demolish the party?
I don't gotta demolish the party. That party belongs to me. It don't belong to them.
Okay.
That party belongs to the people. These political parties don't belong to these rich ass folk. These parties belong to the people. Period. I don't gotta demolish that party. That party don't belong to them. And it is up to the people to demand what we want done with that party. And it's very... So let me ask you all this.
The change within the party.
How many of you all have never heard me give you the 2-year plan? If you've never heard Dani's 2-year plan, put a 3 in the 4, 5, fuck, put something in the chat. Put an emoji of your liking if you have never heard my 2-year timeline. Because we're going to do a thing together right now. Because here's what I don't do. I don't sit up here on TikTok and just talk shit for no reason. We got to do something. Y'all heard me over here talking to my grandbabies. I'll be damned if I'm leaving this place for them. And I'll be damned if I'm leaving some of these folks to try to figure out how to fix it for them. Shit. Absolutely not. When somebody believes, right, that raisins go in potato salad, you don't let them fucking cook. They can come to the cookout, but they don't get to bring the potato salad. And this is where we are. So I'm going to give you three things to remember. You hear me? Number one, we must get serious about winning elections. And the strategy cannot be, don't vote for them, they're horrible. The strategy cannot be, well, I bought you flowers on our first date. That's part of the problem with the Democratic Party right now. The Democratic Party is going, but look, we've done all these amazing things. And do you know what the Democratic base is saying? Hold on, I'm gonna tell y'all. You ready? This is what the base of the Democratic Party is saying. You ready?
What's up, girl? He stood me up again.
Again?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's up with this guy? Do you really like him that much?
Yes, honey, I love him. He is fine. He does a lot of nice things for me.
I know he used to do nice stuff for you, but what has he done for you lately?
Right? And I'm not lying. I'm not lying. So this is the problem that the Democratic Party has right now.
And so how do we
I'm getting there. I got you. Okay. So when we understand that, then this is the move. So what we must do is come up with a strategy that is better than they're horrible and we used to be good to you. Because I'm sorry, taking a knee with a fucking kente cloth does not do it for me. I don't know who thought that was a good idea. Who told Nancy to get her literally a kente cloth and take a knee? Who told the Democratic Party that's a smart thing to do? Black people will just love that. It's going to make them just run out to the polls for you. Are you kidding me? Of course not. Of course not. Every single one of us rolled our eyes and said, go get your people. Period. So, number one, you must get serious about elections and you must have a serious election winning strategy. And what I will do is show you what that looks like. Are y'all ready? Here we go. People lie, numbers don't. So the first thing that I look at when it comes to how can I win elections? How can I win and flip seats? How can we build power the fastest way possible? What, baby girl?
This is Bella House. Do you know?
Are you in her server or is that her phone?
That's me.
Okay.
And
You know Minecraft, so.
and this is Bella House. It's a bunny.
Oh, you made it for her?
It's a bunny house.
I love it. That's so cute, sissy. All right, so listen. So in 2024, we had 12 states in this country that had margins that were 10% or less. If you did not know that, or unless you learned it from me, please put a blue heart in the chat. If you did not know that almost 20% of our states in this country had margins of 10% or less, please put a blue heart in the chat. Because that's a fact. So what I did was I went and I took a look at what those 12 states looked like. And then not just what did those states look like, I looked at what did the counties within those states actually look like as well. So this is the way that looks. And I'm going to take my background down. I really want y'all to stay with me. If you are serious about actually wanting to fix this shit, like for real, then we need to do that. All right. So pay attention. This, folks, is my Google Drive spreadsheet. What you see down here are those states. So I literally went through state by state the election data for all 12 of those. And then I looked at the election data for every county in those states, every single one of them. And then I looked at those counties in all of those states for the last 5 years data for every federal election. So if they had 7, so this is Michigan. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 elections. Got it? 6 elections in 5 years. Okay. Now follow me. This is where it gets important. If in Michigan, these 16 counties had margins of 10% or less in the majority of those 6 elections. So what that tells me is they are close and they can be flipped with effort and intention, right? So once I drilled down and I got, these are the 16 counties in Michigan I'm looking at, okay? Then I look to see, well, what House districts do they have in common? Because if I focus on county and you're like, well, Dani, why are we talking about counties? Because that's your neighborhood. That's your neighborhood. And if you want to build something that lasts and that withstands the test of time, you build connection in your neighborhood, period. And then this means that this is where you can build power. And then you want to look at not only what districts do they have in common, but who voted third party and then who was registered to vote that didn't vote. Okay? Don't listen to Scipio. Scipio's talking shit and don't even know what the fuck the plan is. So Scipio can either shut up and want to learn something or shut up, listen to what I got to say, and then rebut. See, if you are rebutting before you even hear the plan, you're not really interested in the plan. You just want to be a naysayer. And I ain't got no damn time for naysaying ninjas. I have no time for naysaying ninjas. You either hear the plan and then ask questions or offer improvements, or you shut the fuck up. Because if I'm not even done with the first component and you got something negative to say, you're not interested in fixing nothing. And let me show you how quick I'm going to do that. Bloop, bloop, muted. So here we go. So the rest of you all that are with me, this is how you make that work. So on a presidential level in Michigan, here's what that looks like. They had a deficit of 80,000 votes in the state of Michigan in 2024. In just these 16 counties in that state, y'all, there were 47,000 people that voted third party. That is 59% of this deficit with just 16 counties. And in those same 16 counties, there was 1.1 million people that were registered to vote that didn't vote. So this is low-hanging fruit. This is strategy. This is who we need to talk to gain the most power in the shortest amount of time. And I did that, like I said, for all of the states that you see down here at the bottom. All right? Now, the next part is this. How do you have conversations with those people in a way that is meaningful and that matters? So I'm going to ask you all, especially those of you all who have never seen this before, I want you to share with me what are the things that you believe people care about. What impacts people on a day-to-day basis? What do they care about? Really, like in their everyday life, do they actually give a damn if they go to Walmart and somebody who is gender ambiguous is in the stall 4 places down? Or do they care if they can buy their medication, or if they can buy their groceries, or if they can take care of their kids, if they can do it? What do people actually care about? Yeah, y'all got it. Prices and quality of life. So why are we arguing about shit that they don't even care about? So here's the second part. So this is the thing that I'm going to ask you all in the chat. Someone who's not a regular, I want somebody who really wants to know this to give me the state that you live in, your congressional district. Give me the state that you live in and your congressional district, please. Can one of you all do that for me? Florida 4. I got you, Sabrina. So I'm going to show you what Florida 4 looks like. Give me a second, guys. Let me do Florida 4 first, okay? I I love it when people ask me, so what do we do? Okay, I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked. So let me turn my camera around. So this is my personal Google Drive. All right. Share this tab instead. So I went to Florida 4. That's where I'm going first. Sabrina, in your state, do you want it in English or Spanish? We'll just do English, but know that you could have it in Spanish if you want, because it's here. In your congressional district, 91,000 children and adults are projected to lose their statewide Medicaid managed care because of the One Big Beautiful Bill and the loss of funding. 91,000 children and adults. Guess what else? 22,000 are going to lose some or all of their SNAP benefits for the same reason. Guess what else? Because of those premium tax subsidies that they let expire, an additional 91,000 people will become uninsured because they can't purchase it. Now imagine if you were going out into your neighborhood and into your community and you were sharing this information. Imagine if you were giving it to people that were in that was out at your park or at your grocery store or at your friends or whatever, right? I made all of these graphics for every single state in this country in English and in Spanish. No, I created every bit of these, Cooper's mom. Now, I don't want you to just believe me, though. There's a whole daggone sources document in English and in Spanish. So if you want to know where I got the information, it's from here. Right? Now, that is the second part of what we do. Just listen to me, y'all. The second part of what we do is we go and we talk to people where they're at because they don't know what's happening. People think, oh, everybody said it was going to be really bad, but we still have access to ABCDXYZ. They don't know that the federal funding keeps getting reduced every single year between now and 2034. But what if we did tell them that? Right? What if we shared that information? What if I could show you that the percentage of people that actually work that are on Medicaid is the damn majority, no matter if it is a Republican state, a purple state, a Democratic state? Those graphics are in here as well. There's a whole slew of information. And then here's the stuff that gets really, really, really exciting. So Uncle Daddy, they expired at the end of last year. And the other thing that's important to remember is that these are what's expired. These are projections through the end of 2034 because the federal funding continues to go. So no, they didn't. Now listen, here's the other piece that you really want to get. Okay. So when I'm talking to folks, I'm going to give you an example. What is the mechanism that they used to take the funding away from SNAP? What's the mechanism that they used to take the funding away from Medicaid? What's the mechanism that they used? Because it wasn't a regular bill. What did they use, guys? What was it called? Budget reconciliation. Exactly. So why isn't the Democratic Party? Nope, it wasn't an executive order. You cannot do anything with funding via the executive order. They used budget reconciliation so that they did not have to have the normal 60 votes. Okay? So tell me this, why isn't every Democrat running for office in Congress saying to people, elect me, and we will use budget reconciliation to put your SNAP benefits back, to redo premium tax subsidies, to take money away from ICE and put it back in, to take the money that we took from the Department of Education and we put it into the Department of Labor, we'll put it back. Give us a Democratic majority and we will do that. People do not know. Does Congress know? Hell yeah, they know. That's their job to know. They watched them do it last year. I'm going to help you with that in just a second, Alicia. So listen.
And was all that in the big bill?
Yes. That big bill was budget reconciliation. HB1 was budget reconciliation. And all of that was done through that mechanism. Yes. Now, here's the other part where I really hope people get excited. So so that is election strategy. Yes, it can be reversed. A year from now, if we have a Democratic majority in the House and a Democratic majority in the Senate, which is possible, okay? Easier to do in the House, but possible in both. 1 year from now, we can pass budget reconciliation and put this back. You're asking me if new candidates know. I don't know. I'm not the DNC, and I don't run anybody's campaign. But follow me, and y'all stay focused for a second, because I need to give you the 2-year plan so that you understand just how quickly we can foot this canoe back over and get right side up and stop drowning in the fucking ocean every day. I don't know about y'all, but I am tired. Got it? So here's the rest, okay? So you're having these conversations, you're sharing information with people. Other examples are things like this. So I love this graphic. It's in English and in Spanish. I love this graphic because no wars means no culture wars. You're not going to distract me talking about AB and trans and immigration because you only want to talk about these so you don't have to talk to me about healthcare and education and housing and economic mobility. That's the only reason you don't talk about this shit. Is so you don't have to talk to me about these things that really matter to me and my family. And I'm not talking about this stuff anymore. I want to talk about this, right? So this is another document that I created for folks. This is how many, I'm not showing you the updated map. I'm going to show the updated map on our call tonight, but we've only been at this for 11 weeks. In 11 weeks, we are in 48 states and 446 counties. Why does that matter to you? Well, it matters because this is how you build power. And this is how you hold the Democratic Party accountable. This is how you say to power, you either concede or you will be ousted. This is when you say you will either get on this boat or you will go. Because that's exactly what the Tea Party said to establishment Republicans. We're just doing it in a way that is beneficial for the people and not the 1%. You follow me? Now, here's the rest of it, okay? Here's the rest of it. So let's just say that we do what we need to do. And when we get on the other side of November, we have a majority of progressives. Yes, the stars are people who have signed up. Well, hold on, Nadia. I haven't got to any signature parts yet. This is literally about getting out into your community and having conversations. Okay. So when we have days of actions and weekends of actions, like we're doing this weekend, okay, here's what we do. So I've got people in my community that are disabled. I got people that cannot go out into their neighborhoods and their communities. But guess what they can do? They can post online. They can write letters to the editors and include this information. They can send text messages with all of these graphics to their friends, even to their families that live in different states. They can be like, hey, sis, I don't know if you saw this, and I know you're in Texas and I'm in North Carolina, but here's what's happening in your area. And guess what I'm not doing? I'm not talking about Donald Trump. I'm not talking about Republicans. I'm not talking about the Tea Party. I'm simply saying, hey, I care about you. And this is what's going to happen to you and your family. And I want to make sure that you know. Got it? And then there are people that are absolutely going to be out knocking doors and doing whatever. But the point is to start having conversations in our communities that build connection. And we do that by talking about the things that actually impact the lives of people. And if campaigns are smart, they do that in the areas that I identified by the data. We do it where we live. Campaigns better do it in the communities that we identified with the smallest margins. Got it? So we do that, and we get to May and June of 2027, and all of a sudden we have budget reconciliation, and we get to put the money back into SNAP, and we get to put the money back into Medicaid, and we get to put the money back into the Department of Education. We get to take the funding away from ICE, right? And then we do something really, really brilliant. This is when I get excited about the second half of 2027. So in the second half of 2027 is when we begin the first round of government accountability. And no, I'm not talking about impeaching the president. I'm talking about impeaching and removing the worker bees, the Kash Patels, the RFK Juniors, the Pam Bondis, the Todd Blanches, the Stephen Millers, the Russell Vaught's, the folks that are in these departments that are actually causing harm. You impeach and remove, and you can, because you have the Democratic majority in the House and the Senate, and there's not a damn thing they can do about it. And when you impeach and remove those members of the cabinet, guess what they can't do? Pick some willy-nilly old replacement and put them in place, because you are in charge of the confirmation hearings. You are in charge of the confirmation hearings. They can't just put anybody in Cash's position. No, you got to come before this committee, folks. And do you know how we make sure that those people in office still do what they're supposed to do? Is because we keep our foot theoretically on their damn neck, because we keep finding progressive candidates to primary them. We keep finding progressive candidates who are willing to challenge the establishment Democrats. We keep letting them know that if you are putting any other foreign country, if you are putting any other religion, if you are putting any other corporation above the best interest of the people, you're about to go. So you might want to have a come to Jesus moment with yourself and get on board, or you will not be in Congress anymore. And by keeping that pressure on them, they do what we need to do while we work on their replacements. Got it? That gets us to the end of 2027. And then it gets beautiful because we start 2028. And 2028 is pretty damn amazing, because now we have the cabinet restructured. Right? No. So hold on a second, Peaches. Hold on. Just hold on. Now follow the rest, okay? We get to 2028, and we are heading into another round of congressional seats, and we are entering into the presidential race. Same rules apply. You vote for your personal preference during the primaries, and you vote for the Democratic representative in the general election. I don't care if you got to hold your nose or go throw up afterwards. Got it? And then you get ready for what I call the Mitch McConnell them motherfuckers move. Okay? And the way you Mitch McConnell them motherfuckers is you have Congress expand the Supreme Court in the summer of 2028. When it is too late for them to appoint anybody to the court, because you have the elections in November, and you have the Democratic majority in the Senate, so they would need your confirmation hearings anyway. And now all of a sudden you have a Supreme Court that has 13 districts, 13 judges, one for every district, as it was intended. Okay? And you do it in a way that they can't do anything, and they can't stack the court. They can't do anything about it. And then you win. You maintain the Democratic majority in House and in the Senate, and you get a Democratic president in the office in 2028. So when you hit 2029, if Clarence Thomas is still there, if Alito is still there, you get to do the second round of government accountability and impeach and remove their asses for violating their oaths of office, right? You get to impeach and remove Uncle Clarence. Old Stephen from Django gets to sit his ass down so far, right? That's what he gets to do, along with Alito. And now all of a sudden, we are in 2029 with a progressive majority in the House and in the Senate and in the executive branch, with 13 seats for the Supreme Court, right? And 6 of them open for appointment. 6 open for appointment, and 4 years to make it happen. 4 years. Now, guys, this is a plan, and it is also fluid because things may change along the way. And so all you do is plan the work, and then you work the plan and you modify it as you go, as is necessary. Now, things that I get really excited about is we actually have a spreadsheet where everybody that's connected is connected together. So for example, if you're in North Carolina, you have an email. That email has the name, the county, and the email address of everybody else that is part of this movement. Why? So that y'all can collaborate together. So y'all can work together. So y'all can apply pressure on your representatives. So you can demand that power work for the people. And then you can do really great things. Kim, they already went out. The email that comes out tonight is you will no longer need an individual email. You all asked me in our last meeting for a spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet with every state is already done. So everybody will get to see that at tonight's meeting at 8 o'clock. But here's the other part that you really got to get, okay? What, baby? Yes, I can. Cam or somebody, can I get a quick mod announcement so I can help the baby girl? And then I'll be right back. And then we're going to get into, because I still have to talk about these images. We got to talk about these other things, but I need to help the baby real quick. And then I will be back. Do I have Cam or Carla or, I don't know, Cheryl or, okay, there she go. There she go. There goes somebody. Okay, I shall be right back.
Good morning, everybody. Or is it still morning? Sorry. Good afternoon in my area. Hope everybody's doing well. While she's on her break, make sure you go up to the top there, and there is a little heart. You click on that heart, and you make sure you claim it for the day. If you have not joined yet, that's how you can also join Dani's Live. And when the list pops up, you can also select, if you haven't yet, to get notifications on when Dani goes live. If you are already a member of this group, you want to make sure that you claim all of your points for any comments you've made in the chat, for joining with your heart me, and all the different things that are available there. Don't forget that tapping is clapping. So the more you tap, the more that Dani moves up in her league, the more people that see her, and the more that she's in everybody's algorithm, and it helps out. You can also go to the bottom right corner, and there's a little arrow down there. You can click to share out this live. You can either repost it, you can click and copy it and paste it wherever you want, or you can choose to go ahead and share it directly with the people that pop up there that are your friends and other people that you follow. Trying to think if I forget anything else. Also, Dani has an amazing link tree full of wonderful information. If you click on Dani's face at the top where it says Dani the 7th, up there, you can find her link tree. Click on that. That's information on how you can join Project for the People, but also tons of educational information on all different topics. So, sorry, Dani, I'll let you go.
Nope, you're good. Thank you, Cheryl. Appreciate you.
You're welcome.
All right, so listen, folks. One of the things that, let me ask this question. Rather than me tell you, I want to ask you something. How many of you all are sick of super PACs and dark money in your elections? If you're sick of them, put the little fire emoji in the chat. If you are sick of corporations spending shit ton of money to badmouth candidates, and you're tired of hearing it in your grocery stores, your radios, look at all them fires. You see it? So what if I told you that Hawaii just passed a bill and signed it into law, HSB 2471, that limits the authorities of artificial persons, that gets Citizens United out of their state elections? How many of you all knew that didn't learn it from me or didn't know that? Right? So let me show you what we've done in the Google Drive again. Okay. because the Google Drive matters. So in the Google Drive, you have, whoops. See this? Oh, did it not turn over? There it goes. So do you see right now? Yeah, it passed and it's been signed into law. So you see this little thing that says potential legislations? Look at that. There is the bill. All you have to do is download this bill. This is the final version of it that Hawaii did, right? Now, guess what else I made for you? I gave you a sample petition. All you got to do is put your state right here. Print this off and you can collect 100 signatures. Now, what if, for example, you are, let me see, where did it go just now? So let's just say that you're in North Carolina. And I use North Carolina because it's easy math. North Carolina has 100 counties. Okay. We have people in 31 counties in this state. So that means we have people in 1/3 of the counties. So what if one person in every county collected 100 signatures minimum and made a copy of those signatures, and then all of you all collectively together sent them to your state legislature and all your state and local media? What if all of you all wrote your letters to the editors and all of you all said, hey, listen, this bill already passed. We can simply do what the state of Hawaii already did, and we can take this dark corporate super money out of our elections. And now all of a sudden you have a movement. Now all of a sudden you have something tangible. And you can do that not just with the bill from Hawaii, but you can do it with the bill that was just signed into law in New Mexico that makes it a crime to send armed troops into polling locations and parking lots and voting establishments. Right? So guys, that is my 2-year timeline. And that is the foundation for how we get things done. We meet currently every other Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you can't make it, you get an email with a recording. None of this is free. Nobody pays me to do this. Not a dime of it. All that happened was,
Where do we meet?
On Google Meet. You got an email last night with the link to meet on Google.
Okay.
And so this is all I know. I got tired of people saying, but what do we do about it? I got tired of people talking about, but Democrats don't do this. And well, you know what? Make them do it. Listen, y'all, we should not be surprised that our government and our corporations don't do anything that working class people don't make them do. Guys, if they actually did, if corporations were willing to do the right thing by people, we wouldn't need the Clean Air Act because they wouldn't fucking pollute the clean air. We wouldn't need the Clean Water Act because they wouldn't pollute the water. We wouldn't need a minimum wage because they would simply want to pay you a wage that is livable. But they don't. And they won't unless we, the people, make them do so. Like real talk. And that isn't about parties. That's just about rich peopleing. That's what I call it. Rich people be rich peopleing. and when you reach a certain level, for the most part, the rich people all the same. The rich people all the same. If you want to get in with this, I only ask for a couple things, right? The plan that I've made, that 2-year plan that I just outlined for you, right? It's mine. It's copywritten. Don't steal my shit. Okay. Number 2, all these graphics that I made, they're watermarked, right? Don't steal my shit. If you want to use the sources and create your own images, by all means do that. Don't put the Project for the People logo on them though, unless someone within the team says, yeah, that's good to go. And the reason why is if you accidentally get it wrong, they will use it to try to discredit the movement, and we have zero room for error. We don't get to fail up. They do. You hear me, y'all? I just want you all to really understand, they don't want you to know how much power you have. And just for historical context, we've been here before. We've been here before. In 1865, when they passed the 13th Amendment, and in 1868, when they passed the 14th Amendment, and the Confederate States said, nah, we want to keep people as property. Congress said, no, you don't get to do that. Even though Andrew Johnson said, yes, they should, because he was a racist, fascist ass president from my home state of Tennessee, right? Congress passed the Reconstruction Acts, and they divided the Confederate States into districts, and they sent the military into those districts, and they said, go tell them people they are free. That is why we are celebrating Juneteenth. Because Congress said, you will honor these amendments. And when they wanted to fight the Reconstruction Acts in court and say, oh, that's not constitutional, and Congress was concerned that the Supreme Court was gonna undo it, guess what Congress did? They then passed another measure, and they changed the jurisdiction for that type of case in the middle of the deliberations. The Supreme Court lost the ability to do anything. When I tell you that Congress can be our greatest, quickest source of checks and balances, it can. And that is why they don't want you to participate. Is the court system great for checks and balances? Yes, but it takes too fucking long. By the time we get court decisions, damage has been done. By the time we get court decisions, they still benefit. I want y'all to just think about something. By the time we got, yes, tariffs are illegal, you need to do something, the corporations that got the money from you to pay for those tariffs are now going to get refunded the money for them fucking tariffs, and you are the loser all the way around again. You are the loser all the way around again because the courts take too damn long. But what if we, the people, ensure that we have a Congress that actually does the will of the people? And if they don't want to do the will of the people, they go the fuck home. Expand that damn court, put term limits on the Supreme Court, right? And you start to create a system that actually works for working class people. Yes, baby.
Can you do my class?
Look, you just do this. This one, this one, this one, and this one. That's all you do, okay? There.
I mean my class.
So, righteous giggles, I don't do age limits. I think there are other ways to address age concerns, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm not about to be ageist. Age is not always an indicator of anything. I see elderly people that have sound minds, lots of wisdom, and are on their A game. Age is not an indicator of wisdom. We all know some old ass people that ain't got no damn sense. We have to stop looking for microwavable solutions. So, Overstreet, what you're talking about isn't what she's discussing. Okay? So when you say should be lowered to 18 to vote as well, I would ask you, what is the age in your state? Because your state is in charge of elections. Your state determines the ages for election. So if you believe that you want people in Congress representing you that are 18, then I would say go talk to your state legislature about having that passed. That is not something that is dictated anywhere else except by your state. Your state determines how long somebody has to live there before they can run for office. Your state determines how long, if they have to live just in the state, or if they have to live not only in that state, but also in that particular district that they're running for. Right? So if you want to talk about ages, then that is a state issue. So No, it's not. It may or may not be in that state's constitution. You have to look at each state's constitution or each state's election law. So here's the thing that I'm saying to you is that the only election age law that's federal is in the Constitution about the age that someone needs to be to run the United States of America. That's the only age that there is, federally speaking. There's no law federally that says an 18-year-old can't go to Congress. It doesn't show that. The only office that has that is the presidency, and it's 35. And if I'm being real honest with y'all, I don't know. Sometimes I think we still too dumb at 35. But who am I? You all are looking for simple ways, and this is what people like. People want to be able to look at someone and say, based on these factors, this is a great fit. And it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. I'm going to give you an example. I talk about this all the time. Folks, we're looking for shortcuts to protecting democracy. And those don't exist. Okay? Give me 1 second. What hill? What hill did I say I was unaliving on? I'm confused, Maria. What hill? Did I say something about unaliving on a hill? Oh, the younger age limit. I just think that was I think that was one of those devil's advocate thing that people say, right? But here's the thing, folks. All right. You have to do the best that you can do based on the information that is available to you, and your wisdom and all those types of things. Okay. If I describe this person to you, I'm going to describe to you guys a middle-aged man who's been married for like 25, 30 years, got 3 grown kids, great, great dad, right? He's like a deacon and an elder in his church. He helps do his son's scout troops. Like I said, been married for a long time. He helps out in his local community. He's even part of the neighborhood watch. So by all accounts, sounds like a great guy, right? Would everybody agree that based off just what I said just now, that sounds like a great, great guy, great dad, husband, married for 30 some years, like helps out in the community, all the things, member of the church, does all the things, right? I just described for you Dennis Rader. That's Dennis Rader. Meanwhile, while all of that was happening, that joker was kidnapping, binding, torturing, and unaliving girls and women. We want to be able to go, and this is what people do. People go, well, gosh, I'm just so shocked. He was such a good neighbor. He was so amazing. Because we want to be able to look at somebody and know they're evil. And it's not the way it works. If we looked at people and knew they was evil, listen, y'all, come on. Would Ted Bundy have been able to do what he did if he wasn't Ted Bundy? No. Absolutely not. There's a reason they are successful is because they do not look evil. Because they do not look like we think evil is, but like we have fallen for the okie-doke. We have fallen for the okie-doke that the devil is supposed to have horns and a tail, and we forget that Lucifer was the most beautiful angel according to the Bible in heaven. Whether you believe in the Bible is irrelevant. I'm using it as an illustration. Y'all get that though, right? You get what I'm telling you. Now, I want you all to notice something. For those of y'all that are still in this room right now, because we lost 100 people because I started talking about facts. But did you notice all the naysayers left when I started breaking out spreadsheets? Did you notice all the naysayers left when I started giving you a tangible plan? Because many people don't want a tangible plan. They just want to argue on TikTok and be a fucking distraction. Did y'all notice that? You got to start asking yourself, not only do you truly want a plan, but are you actually willing to do the damn work? Hey, I need you to turn that down, Sissy. It's super loud. And I'm not worried about none of those people. Maybe this ain't their time. Maybe they need this to go. I am excited as fuck by all of you. In 11 weeks, we have people in 48 out of 50 states and 446 counties. And I haven't even updated the numbers on the map yet. I know them, but I'm not telling them to you until tonight, on tonight's call. And I told you guys I'm giving you data center graphics today. I am giving you data center graphics tonight, but I also have another set of graphics. And the other set of graphics is around the people that live in poverty in your state. And then what are the poverty levels? Do y'all know what is considered to be 100% poverty rate, poverty level in the United States of America this year for a family of 4? $33,000. How the fuck do 4 people live off $33,000 a year in the United States of America in 2026? It's the craziest shit ever. Like, these are the numbers. Y'all know me. I'm a ink printed out. This is going in the Google Drive along with the graphics. So I have a national map with all of your state, the percentage of people that are below the poverty level in your state, and the number of people in your state. So like we just did Florida a minute ago, right? Let me show y'all this. Y'all Florida folks. Whoops. Move out the way. Move, get out the way. Every time I say stuff, music pops in my brain. So don't judge me, people. Don't judge me. But Florida, 13.1% of your population is living in poverty, living below the poverty level in Florida. And that's not bad compared to everybody else, right? Louisiana, 19.6% of you. 19.6%. That is in the state of Louisiana, 883,236 people live below these poverty lines, y'all. And they think people just need to pull themselves up by the bootstraps? In what world? In what way? Mississippi is 19.4%. West Virginia, 16.8%, 291,000 people. And then, so, you know, some of the percentages aren't really indicative of the people. Because, like, I'm going to give you an example, like Texas, your percentage is 14.2%. But in Texas, that's 4.1 million people. Crazy, right? Montana is 12%. They want you to pull yourself up by the bootstraps, and your ass is walking barefoot on hot ass coals and dirt and rocks. I really want the focus of these conversations, you all, not to be about political parties. I want them to be about people and policy. And I want you to help everyone remember. So y'all know I love this movie. I love the whole series, and don't judge me. But there are a couple of really critical moments and lessons that we can learn from Hunger Games. Go with me, and then I'll bring some more people up to the panel. But don't y'all be judging me, okay? So I love Hunger Games because first of all, I volunteer as tribute. Second of all, no, Cinderella, no. There's no business. There's no nonprofit. This is Dani Cook being on TikTok and YouTube and Facebook, and people saying, Dani, what do we do? Dani, what do we do? And Dani going, fuck, I guess I got to figure out something for us to do. And then Dani spending hours at night looking at Project 2025 and Project Esther and looking at like, what did they do it and how did they analyze risk and how did they figure out like what order they should do things in and where can we gain the most power? What's the shortest, fastest route to where we want to go that is also ensuring that the folks over there don't maintain their power or get new areas. Like, no, this is not, there is nobody saying, hey, Dani, you want 50 grand to do this? No, ma'am, there's none of that. None. Ain't nothing. I keep telling all these people, like, you're just a George Soros funded. Listen, you call Uncle George up. Tell him I can give him Venmo, Cash App, fucking Zelle, whatever George needs to send something my way, he can send it. These grandbabies would appreciate it. And so with this damn computer of mine that y'all heard over here going, because listen, my subscribers helped me out at Christmas and we bought a computer. Bless our hearts, but you know me, I'm still trying to get a deal. So I looked for a computer that wasn't exactly like what I really needed, and it wasn't as expensive as probably what I should have gotten, right? And that's why I'm still not doing TikTok Studio, and TikTok is on my phone because TikTok Studio drains a lot on my processor, and I need a new one, and it's not gonna happen. And my MacBook is 9 years old, so that ain't gonna wait. That ain't gonna work. Okay. So anyway, no, there's no 501c3. There's none of that. It's just people. It's people saying, I believe in people and I believe that we can be better and that we should be better and that we are better. That's what this is. Okay. Yeah, very grassroots, 100%. Yeah. You're welcome. No worries, Sassy. You know, I have found myself lately being even more impassioned than usual. Because the willingness of people to regurgitate nonsense at the expense of human beings has become very frustrating to me. You know, just people's willingness to just repeat fuckery while people are hurting me is just wild. People are just hurting. And it started to make me go, what the fuck? What is wrong with you? So anyway, if you are interested in Project for the People, we meet every other Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Google Meet. I chose Google Meet because it was cheaper than Zoom. I have Zoom, but to do like up to like 1,000 people, Zoom wanted too much damn money. So I went to Google. I did Google Meet. It's fine. But it's there. And then I send out, if you can't make the meetings, I send out a recording. Last night I was on NOLA. Y'all know Marshawn, the guy that was like, burn. I was on his panel last night and a woman joined and she said, but Dani, what do we do? She said, what do we do if we're talking to someone and they're like, they don't have the time or, they just think it's all a waste and they don't have the energy. And, how do we talk to people? What are some ideas that you have? And I said, what is better than me giving you ideas is let's just role play it. I'll be you be the person that you want to talk to. And you say to me whatever you think those people would say to you. And she said, bet. Yes, Marie, anyone is welcome to come to the meetings. And so she hopped on the panel last night And okay, righteous giggles, I will. And so we started role playing. And I just talked to her the same way. And she was like, she said, you're giving me some good ideas. She said, but Dani, I would have never been this person before. I'm not a person that would just go around and talk to people. I said, then tell them that. Tell them that. Tell them. If you had told me 3 years ago, I'd be knocking on your door to talk to you about SNAP and Medicaid, I would not have believed you. Because I don't want to be spending my time doing this. But I have to. I'm honest with people about that. Sometimes y'all get on my damn nerves. I don't want to be on here with y'all. I love y'all. And still sometimes like, oh, I don't want to get on TikTok today. Because sometimes I'll be tired. But you gotta just be real with people. Be honest. Don't you love it when somebody says to you, hey, I'm new? And you're like, if you're checking out of the grocery store, if you're buying something, if someone says to you, I'm new and I don't really know what I'm doing, let me make sure that I get it done for you, right? Don't you find yourself all of a sudden being patient with them? Don't you find yourself all of a sudden being understanding? That's the way that we are. Just say to people, I don't really know what I'm doing. I just know that I felt like I needed to do something. And so there was this crazy ass lady on TikTok that said, start telling people about what's happening to them. And so I figured if I know people that are on Medicaid and SNAP, you probably know people that are on Medicaid and SNAP, and people should know that no matter what politicians argue about in front of the TV, this money was taken away from these programs and people are going to lose access. Right? The only thing that I ask you all not to do, besides don't steal my shit and don't take the watermarks off, is don't share the Google Drive link. Share the link for people to sign up. And the reason why, when I show that map, you guys, it does two things. It gives people hope, right? And it also lets the powers that be know we're coming. So if you start sharing the Google Drive, but people don't sign up, I can't put their star on the map. I don't know where we can build power. I don't know where we have power. And we need that. So only share the link on how to join. Don't share the Google Drive link. Let me do that. Okay. But let me tell you about, this is where I was going with Hunger Games. Okay. Besides the I Volunteer as Tribute. Do y'all remember in the very first Hunger Games movie, when the game maker, Cyrus, he gives Katniss a score of 11 out of 12. Y'all remember that? After she does the bow and arrow and it hits the apple in the pig's mouth. And President Snow says, you gave her an 11. And he says, she earned it. And he said, she shot an arrow at your head. And he said, at an apple. And he said, beside your head, right? And then he says to the game maker, why do we have the games? Why do we have the games? Like if we just wanted to scare people into submission, why do we have the games? Why not just go around to all 12 districts, take 2 children from every district and just slaughter them in front of everyone? Why not do that? Because people will revolt. A little hope is good. Because if you give people a little hope that things can change, they'll be complicit. But a lot of hope is dangerous. And what I want is for people to become super dangerously hopeful. What you got, baby? You made a video? Oh, 6, 7. Cutie. That's a cute video. What happened to her head? You're so silly. Cute job. So I want you to become dangerously hopeful. And then the second thing that he says is this, right? So we were talking about the games, right? The first one is the hope. And then the second one, gosh, that ADHD gets me every time. Hold on, there was a second part that I really wanted you all to understand about the Hunger Games. And it's not from the first one. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Shit, I shouldn't have watched the video. It took it right out of my brain. I'm thinking, yep, it was Pig and Apple. That's the first one. That's the first one. But there's another thing that he says. There's another thing that he says. I know. Yeah, the hope is the main. Y'all hear me say that one all the time. That this one was another one, and it's actually from another game. It's actually another game. Another. It's not the very first movie. It'll come to me later. Maybe I'll think about it and tell y'all tonight. It's gonna irritate me now. No, it's not when the districts are rising up. It's not that. Yes, Sissy.
You know, I didn't find that song before.
Really?
Yeah, and I found it.
You found it?
Now.
I know. I'll wake up at 2 a.m. The point is this, you all, right? Is that we have that's a good one too, Jen. Moves and counter moves. Moves and counter moves. There's so many little lessons from within that whole series. It's one of the reasons why I love it so much. What came of the boom by your house? I don't know yet, Lady Blue, to be honest. I don't know. That's it. Fuck yes, Veronica. She got it for me. Okay, listen. It's the first one. So listen. Okay. So if you remember the Hunger Games, and remember, President Snow is so mad. He is so mad at PETA and Katniss because they beat the games. Now there's 2 winners. And so they raise the level by doing what? They make the next games from the previous victors, right? All the prior victors, and everybody's pissed. And so if you remember when they're going into the arena, and what's my man's name, you guys? What's my man's name? Yep, the Quarter Quell, right? No, but what's my man's name? Blonde, Annie's man. What's his name? Finnick. Okay, so listen. So yes, Veronica, Finnick. So if you remember Effie, who, by the way, Effie is my girl. Don't be fucking with Effie. I will come for you. But listen. So do you remember before they go into the Quarter Quell, what does Effie say? She says, I thought I would give us a little something that represents all of us. And then she says, PETA, here's your gold bracelet. And she says, Woody Harrelson's character, Haymitch, here's your gold bracelet, right? And then everybody has their gold thing. And do you remember Katniss? Yep, Haymitch. And do you remember Katniss is in the arena and she doesn't know who to trust and who the threat is? She's just vulnerable. She's out there. She's by the tree. She doesn't know what's coming. And she hears Finnick. Katniss, where are you? And Katniss is back. She's got that arrow drawn. And President Snow is going, let it fly. Let it fly. Right? Because he said he wants everyone to see who she is. He wants the world to see her turn on the people that have her back. He wants the world to see her choose herself over everyone else. And Finnick raises his arm with that gold bracelet and he says, remember who the enemy is, Katniss. Remember who the real enemy is. Because that's what Haymitch told her. Katniss, when you're in the games, remember who the real enemy is. And every single one of us needs to remember who the real enemy is. And we need to get our neighbors to remember who the real enemy is. The real enemy is not just Democrats or Republicans. The real enemy are the ultra rich who do not even see us as human beings. Kevin Roberts refers to us as parasites, people. What do we do to parasites? We kill them. What does that mean? It means he thinks that you're just feeding off the host. You might as well be a tick. In your everyday life, when you are in the voting booth, when you are in your communities, when you are having conversations, when you are on these apps, you better start remembering who the real enemy is. Because it is not the people in the fucking arena with you. It is not. It is President Snow. You hear me? This is why, subscribers, we are going to finish our Hunger Games. So y'all, we do movie night with subscribers. And so we were going to do like the whole 4 movie series. And we watched one and then everything started happening. But I'm not kidding when I tell y'all there's so many lessons. Yes, baby. Yes, you can have a snack. Yeah, it ain't us. We are not the enemies. It's us. Is it on Netflix? Sometimes it depends. So sometimes there are streaming rights to. So what we did as a collective, because I own them, I bought them. See, I got you. Yes. Yeah, but you have to give me 1 minute and let me finish, okay? So listen, what's really important is, oh my God, I have to go back. And okay, so the streaming rights. So basically, when we watch it on like Google Meet together, I just share my screen and we all watch it together, and then it doesn't matter. But sometimes it's streaming on Netflix, sometimes it streams on Prime, sometimes it streams on Tubi. So you just have to check. Okay. All right. Okay. So I'm going to pause for a second so I can drink some water because I talk a whole lot. Look, I got real going. My voice is all scratchy and shit. Sissy, will you get me some water, please? Thank you, love. So the way that you get in is you go to my link tree, you fill out the first link, and then I'm only going to send out one more email today. So if you want to get in on Project for the People, please do it really, really quickly. Oh, I love that, Deirdre. Okay, real talk. Because I literally sent out 2 last night, and it's a lot of data, and I still have other stuff to do. So yeah, do it now. Do it before 2, because if you sign up after 2, you will not get an email. I love you, mean it. Okay. Thank you for getting me water. All right, James, did you have anything else?
No, I'm just listening and understanding.
Okay, you're good. No worries. Okay.
But I do say this: you got to get me a 5X T-shirt. I want a T-shirt.
Okay.
And I need.
LaRonica and Sandy are the folks that handle merch. So if you message LaRonica, she'll be able to square you away. She said, hit me up. It was confirmed, Todd, and you got an email from me last night. I remember you specifically. So if you just go to your inbox and but Amanda, the videos are there and we're still on at an hour. So typically we are on, when I say we start at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we usually run until about 9:30. And that way you can catch the last 30 minutes and then you can always go back and rewatch the first hour that you missed. Okay. All right. So folks, I'm going to bring some other folks up to the panel just to kind of wrap up whatever is in the channel, whatever is in the chat. And then very quickly, I'm going to touch on, and the thing that will probably surprise you about what I'm going to talk about when I talk about HB 8800, which is, and it's section 224, right? That is the section where the Armed Services Committee wants to do a little bit more of an integration of the U.S. military and the IDF. And I'm not going to go into a ton of detail about it other than to tell you what that section says. Thanks, Cadillac. And then second, to remind you of where this comes from. In case you think that the Armed Services Committee dreamed this shit up on their own, right? It's important for you all to remember this is also a project written by the Heritage Foundation. We've covered this before in my space. Hey, Monique, I'm not sure how many of you all remember we talked about this, but it is a special report that was designed March the 12th of 2025 by the Heritage Foundation. It is in my link tree. And we talked about it back then, and it's the U.S.-Israel strategy from special relationship to strategic partnership. And they want this to begin between 2029 to 2047. So we covered this a year ago when this came out, and this section 224 of the allocations for the Armed Services Committee is simply this in action. And so what you need to know is, rather than talk about how outraged you are and how our military needs to be separate from the Israeli military, which it does, right? We also have to acknowledge and understand that it is integrated in many ways already. We need to understand that the IDF trains our police. We need to understand that some of our police departments actually have training facilities in Israel. That is a thing. I would highly encourage you all to become familiar with this document. Okay, go through it, highlight it, and this is where you write your letters to the editor. This is where you contact your members of Congress. This is where you contact the people that are running against your folks. You want to get the DNC's attention? You go start talking to every progressive candidate that is running against the establishment Democrats. So this document was written by the Heritage Foundation last year, and it is specifically a special report about the U.S.-Israel strategy from special relationship to strategic partnership from 2029 to 2047. For those of y'all who do not know, nope, Alicia, this one is not Project 2025. This is specifically a special report that is separate from 2025 that is very detailed about what they envision the relationship between the United States of America and Israel to be. The current memorandum of understanding that we have with Israel expires in 2028. And this is another reason why it is absolutely pertinent that we have a Democratic majority. This is not Project Esther. Project Esther is different from that. So listen, y'all, Project 2025, Project Esther, and this are three separate documents. They have places of intersection, but they are not the same documents. I don't know which part you want me to say again. Listen, the IDF trains our police forces, many of them. Many of our police leadership travels to Israel to be trained by the IDF. We even have police training facilities in Israel. The name of if literally all you have to do is Google Heritage Foundation, U.S.-Israel Strategy 2029 to 2047. The document will come up. It's also in my link tree. My link tree is pretty extensive though, so you might find it faster by simply Googling it. Okay. So when we talk about this portion of the bill, the appropriations bill, and this is the specific section that people are mad about. Okay. And they should be. It is section 224, which is United States-Israel Defense Technology Cooperative Initiative. And here's what it says. It says on line 3, establishment. The Secretary of Defense shall designate an executive agent as such term is defined in Department of Defense Directive 5101.01 relating to DoD executive agent issued February 7th, 2022. Responsible for synchronizing cooperative efforts between the United States and Israel to expand and accelerate bilateral defense technology research, development, testing, evaluation, integration, and industrial cooperation by, number 1, identifying jointly developed or Israeli origin technologies with operational utility for potential integration into United States systems and programs of records. Now, you need to understand that Israel is a surveillance state. Israel's surveillance technology has been utilized in and purchased by certain countries in West Africa and in different places around the world. This is something that this is kind of their niche and their specialty, and they want to integrate their technologies into our systems and programs of record. That's number one. Number two, ensuring collaborative research initiatives, including government, private sector, and academic institutions in the United States and Israel is done in a manner that protects sensitive technology and information and the national security interests of the United States and Israel. Hey, not so loud, please.
You hit me, and I said the phone.
Yeah. Hey, don't be grouchy, Belle. Be nice. 3, facilitating the transition of technologies from research and development into procurement and acquisition pathways. 4, establishing frameworks for joint ventures, licensing agreements, and U.S.-based production or manufacturing partnerships with Israeli industry. 5, coordinating with relevant Department of Defense components, including the Irregular Warfare Technical Support Directorate, Capability Development and Innovative Divisions, the Undersecretary of Defense for Research and Engineering, the Defense Innovation Unit, the U.S. Israel Operations Technology Working Group, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, the Missile Defense Agency, the U.S. Space Command, the military departments, and other Department of Defense entities as appropriate, listen to this, to align efforts and avoid duplication. Now, something that I really want you to understand is when the federal government or the state government starts talking about things like, oh, we need to avoid duplication, what they really mean is mergers and acquisitions. What they really mean is integration. What they really mean, right? Those fancy words like streamlining and avoiding duplicate services. What they mean is integrating the Israeli systems in these areas into our systems so that they become one. And they are no longer separate. So the easiest way for me to say that is these motherfuckers want to scramble the egg. When you scramble an egg, can you separate the yolk from the egg white? Yes or no? No. 6, promoting joint training exercises and information sharing mechanisms to enhance operational readiness to deploy jointly developed technologies. Why is this dangerous? Because we have laws that prevent the use and the development of some of the technologies that Israel does. Do you all know that? That we literally have laws. Some of the things that we have, like they're in a like a research phase, they can't be tested here, so we send them to Israel. And then they test them on Palestinians and Lebanese individuals. B, cooperative efforts. The synchronized cooperative efforts under subsection A may be carried out through the following domains. Number 1, listen to this, counter unmanned systems, including aerial, maritime, and ground platforms. 2, anti-tunneling and subterranean threats. 3, missile and air defense technologies. 4, artificial intelligence, quantum machine learning, and autonomous systems. 5, directed energy and advanced sensing. 6, cyber defense, electronic warfare, and digital resilience. 7, All of this one, I would just highlight in a big fucking yellow. Biotechnology, biomanufacturing, and medical defense. I'm going to repeat number 7. Okay. Biotechnology, biomanufacturing, and medical defense. 8, network integration, data fusion, and contested logistics. 9, defense industrial base cooperation, manufacturing, and co-production. And 10, other emerging technologies as jointly agreed upon by the U.S. and Israel. So basically any fucking thing else we say that we didn't outline specifically here. Okay. C, and we're almost done. Activities in coordination with other federal departments and agencies. One of the things that I want you all to get when we talk about this is that this is the appropriations bill from the Armed Services Committee. So this isn't like, this is specifically from the Armed Services Committee. Okay. And we don't do this with any of our allies. Correct, Erica? We sure don't. Correct. This is an appropriations bill and people want this section taken out. Absolutely. So here we go. The Secretary of Defense shall coordinate activities as appropriate with the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Commerce, and the heads of other relevant federal departments, agents, and agencies to ensure consistency with existing laws and regulations. D, interim progress update. Not later than 180 days after the date of enactment of this act, the Secretary of Defense shall provide to the Congressional Defense Committee an interim briefing on 1, the executive agent designated pursuant to subsection A, and the efforts undertaken by such executive agent to lead the Department of Defense implementation of the synchronized cooperative efforts described in such subsection. 2, the status of the coordination, department-wide with Israeli counterparts. 3, the initial technology areas that were identified for accelerated cooperation. Anytime you hear government say accelerated cooperation, you should be concerned. Rebel, this isn't APAC. This is the Heritage Foundation. Number 3, initial technology areas identified for accelerated cooperation and technologies with operational utility for integration into U.S. systems and programs of record. And 4, any early transition, prototyping, or integration activities initiated during the period covered by the update. Annual report, not later than 1 year after the date of enactment of this act and annually thereafter until 2030. The Secretary of Defense shall submit to the Congressional Defense Committees a report on implementation of the cooperative efforts described in subsection A. Each such report shall include a description of activities conducted, an assessment of progress made in advancing shared national security interests. 3, an assessment of collaboration with other relevant federal programs. 4, a description of technologies transitioned into U.S. acquisition programs or fielded systems. I need for y'all to understand this isn't about troops as much as this is about integrating our systems and their surveillance technology. You don't hear any talk about boots. Listen, y'all, they are talking about integrating our systems with each other. This is not just special relationship. This now becomes partnership. And that is exactly what the Heritage Foundation outlined. We do not have policies. We have similar things that we share with them, and they are outlined here. but they want to take it from a partnership. I mean, they want to take it from a special relationship to a full-on fucking partnership with Israel. We don't partner with foreign governments when it comes to our national security interests. We don't partner with foreign governments when it comes to becoming a surveillance state. Fuck them. That annual report will also include a description of partnerships established with the U.S. and Israeli industry, recommendations for future opportunities to promote the long-term integration of joint capabilities between the U.S. and Israel. And then there should be a form. What's the form of this? Each report required under subsection E shall be submitted in unclassified form and may include a classified annex. In other words, there will be a declassified part that won't tell the public shit. And there will be a classified annex that we will never get to see that will tell the absolute truth about what the fuck they're doing. Give me a second, sissy. I'm almost done. G. Well, so get one, sissy. They're all over there. Get one. I don't have them. Mila, listen. They are all over there for you all. What's up, Ja? Point G, public transparency. The Secretary of Defense shall make available on a publicly accessible website of the Department of Defense periodic, unclassified updates to the maximum extent practicable, which means none, on the synchronized cooperative efforts carried out under subsection A, including a description of how these efforts contribute to the U.S. technological and military supremacy. Such updates shall be made in a manner that ensures that classified information or other information that would compromise operational security, export controls, or sensitive technology are not released. So that is the section that everyone should be concerned about. What I would strongly recommend, though, and what I wanted to do today was introduce both of these to you, and then tomorrow go into, not yet, Rebel, go into greater detail, because what I find helpful is the ability to connect the dots from one document to the other. Okay? Give me 1 second, folks. I highly recommend that you go look at the U.S. Armed Services Committee and contact your folks that are on it. And if you really want to do something, do you know what they hate? They absolutely hate when you do letters to the editor, or if you do social media posts where you tag all of them. They hate it because then there is accountability. Just offering that. All right, what's up, C?
Hi, Dani. How are you?
Fantastic. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good, as can be. Thank you for addressing all that, because my biggest question, which you've really just answered, was if it was worth it to start, calling my representatives. And my other worry is that no one is talking about this. Mm-hmm. So I think your suggestion for the letters to the editors is a really good idea, because, this is something we can't just let go unspoken, and no one is talking about it.
Right. Yeah.
And, I don't want to panic and run around with my hair on fire, but I do want it to be out there to people who need to know.
Yes. And the other thing that I want to add to people when we talk about this is understand, if it's appropriated today, it can be unappropriated come January after the midterms.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
Okay. Like real ass talk.
Really scary.
I really want people to understand that. So all my Virginia people, give Tim Kaine's ass a call right now, because y'all know he can't stand me. But I want to just give you guys just a smidge. Hey, Mila, come let mommy in, please. is if you listen, so they literally outline the United States and Israel's special relationship is anchored in a recurring 10-year foreign military financing memorandum of understanding. The Heritage Foundation literally told them what to do a year ago. Mimi, come let mommy in, please. They literally said, hey, we want to target this little financing memorandum of understanding. And they're getting ready because the current memorandum of understanding expires in 2028, you all. That's why they want to get this done now so that they can establish what the committee will look like. Remember, in 180 days, they said it has to be set up and then they can begin doing it. Now, I want to give you all, can I give you a little glimmer? See? Okay, so listen. Hey, sissy, I'm almost done, by the way. So a little glimmer for you all. Do you all remember when under the Biden-Harris administration, there was a department that was created called, and I'm paraphrasing the name of it, but it was the Center, it was the Center for the Protection of Civilian Casualties Excellence, right? The Center for the Protection of Civilian Casualties Center of Excellence, some shit like that. Basically, let's get smart so that we don't unalive innocent people, right? And that department was designed so that we could do exactly that. Set up a department, set up a committee, set up a structure, set up a team, put the technology together, do all the things. And when the Trump administration came into being, right, they gutted it last summer. That is how we ended up doing what we did to the schoolgirls in Iran, okay? The reason why I'm sharing with that part's not the glimmer, but what is the glimmer is all this document tells them is what they have to start doing 6 months from now, once it's passed. So you and I both know 6 months from now, them asses gonna be home at Christmas. They're not gonna be working, right? They taking a break. And when they come back in January, there's a Democratic majority in the House and in the Senate that can undo every bit of this and say, no, thank you. I don't think we shall. And they could just reallocate. Okay. So yes, it is. So y'all know me. I don't like words like scary and frightening because I just refuse. Okay. What it is 100% concerning. What it is asinine and dangerous to the national security of our country. Okay. And third, thank you for showing your hand all the way out in the open so that we can connect these two dots together. What I don't want you to do is talk about this section 224 and not tie it to a report from the Heritage Foundation 1 year ago telling them exactly what they wanted them to do. I want you to tell everyone, especially conservatives, especially MAGA, that this ain't America first. It's more Israel first, and it's Israel telling us what to do.
Good point. Dani, I have one quick thing before I go.
Sure.
Back to someone's question earlier in the chat, asking you if you were a 501c3, which I knew you weren't. But anyway, I don't know if you've considered doing fiscal sponsorship to get some funds.
All of those things are things that people recommend to me. And
okay.
And all, let me tell you, but all of them are things that I don't have the bandwidth to even explore between that, you know what I mean? And so if there are other people that's your forte and you know the ins and outs and how to make that happen and how it would look like. So like one of the things I'm really grateful for, like Sandy and Veronica, they just made the whole merch shit happen. I just had the logo and said, yes, these are the things that I like and whatever, you know what I mean? But those things are helpful for me because that's the area. So guys, listen, I'm not here's the thing. If I wanted to master all of that, I could, but it would mean I would have no bandwidth for the advocacy. Does that make sense? And so we just need people in the village that's their forte, that's their deal. And then, you know what I mean? And then can help bring it together. So, yeah.
So what I do as a freelance person is I have over the years helped to set up and maintain companies, startups. And I have started several 501c3s, and I've also set up sponsorships for either temporary projects or projects that want to continue but need money before they are fully set up.
Okay.
So if at some point you think you want to go the funding route,
Okay.
I would be very happy to help you out.
Love
You
that.
out with that and donate my services in that capacity.
Love that. Appreciate it. Yeah. So I think, yeah, I will keep that in mind.
So anybody can, contact me, with in your group and,
Yeah.
you know where to find me. So
All right.
anyway, that's all.
Love it. Appreciate you, C.
See you later.
Yep. You too. Bye. Okay. So as you guys can hear, Miss Mila's here. My daughter's here. So I'm gonna do Jen the vet before I wrap up. And then the only other thing that I'm going to offer is y'all don't talk to Mario, bro. I wouldn't recommend talking to anybody who chooses the TikTok name bro of any kind. It's probably just not a good use of energy. But anyway. What's up, Jen? How are you?
I'm awake. That's about all I have today.
Yeah, I got you.
I forgot what I had requested to come up for, so
No worries.
We're good.
Okay, I appreciate you. Hope that you're doing well. Y'all see Titans even come up here now. He said, "Mom, what you doing? Look, say hi to the people."
I mean, the twins graduated, so that's all done and taken care of now. Now it's just getting them on to the next phase.
Yeah, I love that for you. Really do. I think that's amazing. Okay. All right. I got you. So, again, if you want to attend Project for the People, you can do that tonight, and you do that by signing up in my link tree. I'm going to offer this to you. If you are someone that has ill will or negative intentions, I would just offer you a cautionary word of consideration. Don't do it. And the reason why is the things that comes out of this space comes from such a place of goodness and good intention. You do not want to fuck around with that kind of energy, because you will in fact reap what you sow. And it won't be that anybody will have to do anything to you. We literally just return to sender. So whatever negativity you might want coming this way, it will come back your way. And so just understand that. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay. Yes, it is the way the universe works, 100%. Yeah. So just so we all understand. So I'm going to do Illogical will be my last guest, and then we'll wrap it up. So good afternoon, Illogical. What you got?
Hey, how's it going? Big fan. I'm coming here a lot. Don't have enough to send you a heart rate today. Sorry, but I actually am currently working on something. I've talked to you about a few different things. I'm big into energy, so don't really care if you're a woman or a trans woman. I'm a trans advocate. So long story short, though, I need your help with something, or kind of just if you, it's about to happen, but I also have a disability. And there's a lot of guys with disability and women that can't get jobs. So I also love Pokemon, right? That guy had autism, the guy who made it. If you didn't know it or not, he did. That's why he categorizes the Pokemon so much, which is a similar disability to mine, but not quite the same. So moral of the story, I'm going to be opening up the Pokemon shop soon enough. Card shop, there'll be other games. And I'm thinking about calling it Slow Bros, because that is a Pokemon. But then some people are saying that might be offensive, so I'm not really. It's it's a good catch, but it's a good catchy name, obviously. So, I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I'm not.
I'm the guy who tells you that the said, look at him. They're calling me a Zionist. I'm pretty big on the app. I'm not a Zionist. I'm just a Jewish guy who's Christian. That doesn't make me a Zionist.
So I think that's only one person that said something to that effect.
No, but the fact that I'm just I'm a well-known Zionist. That could get me in danger. It's people try to take my life away for that, and then other people cheer for it. And they're like, yeah, he should get and they'll say, you know, the Charlie guy's name. I'm not going to say it. So
Yeah.
like,
So
dude,
here's what I will say is that
I'm on your guys' side, and I'm not, it's like I don't know, I'm just on my own, but I still will advocate.
yeah. So
I'm Jewish, so it always does. You know, I am the chosen people, so you know, God's on my side.
okay. So a couple of things. Okay. So no one in this space has said anything about causing you harm, and no one has said anything that's threatening.
Thank you, Amanda.
I don't allow that in this space, and regardless of
Actually, Slowbro just happens to be my favorite Pokemon, and he actually, with the help of another Pokemon, he's the only one who evolves like that through Shelter. He evolves into like a king. He can talk. He's a very smart Pokemon, right? He proves everyone wrong that he isn't. So, but that's why.
yeah. So Amanda, we're talking about two different things. Hold on a second, please stop, you all. I have the ability to manage my room. I don't need anyone ever to tell me what to do with a guest or to not do with a guest. Ever, folks. I have a really great level of discernment and the ability to run my space. Period. Second, no one here has said anything threatening to you, nor would I allow them to do that in the space, because it's not how. Let me finish. Illogical, please. No, I'm asking you to stop interrupting me though, because it's rude. Right. So I'm asking you to just stop interrupting me because I'm speaking. I'm still speaking. I need you to stop for a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I don't know what has happened in other spaces. What I know definitively is that in my space, for all the time that I've been here live, there has never been anyone that has advocated for the harming of Jewish people in my space. Never, not once. It doesn't happen in this space. I don't condone it in this space. I don't allow it in this space, period. So I don't know what you've experienced other places.
Well, yeah, but some of the people in your space.
Illogical. Stop for a second. Stop. Don't talk to me about, yes, some of the people in my space, because the only thing that has happened in this space, there is one person in the comments that said you were a known Zio. I don't care that's, did you see me say anything about that? Did you say anything changed? Nothing changed in the conversation. Nothing. So what I would say to you is,
a year ago on June 13th, they tried to take my life away. I'm
illogical. Not in here. Not in this space. It did not happen. Not in here.
I said it, so that's the
not in here. And it wasn't a result of anything in this space. It was not a result of anything in this space.
It's just one of those things you wouldn't, unless you're Jewish, you just don't go.
Well, you know, listen, I'm not doing that either. I'm not doing that either. I am not doing that either. And I've asked you to stop interrupting me, so you can either do that or you will leave. One of the two. Either stop interrupting me or you will leave. Choose.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
It is very simple, folks. I do not allow any of that in this space, and everyone knows that. Period. Everyone knows that. Here's what I would say to you is that if you have trauma, whether it is warranted or not, it doesn't have anything to do with me. What I would say is do whatever you need to do to manage that trauma if you're going to be on an app like this, especially being in it. I'll be, guys. Really? Really?
Well,
really though?
I'm not a victim.
Really though? Okay, so I'm not doing it, folks. I don't care who you are. I'm not doing it. I very respectfully said, stop interrupting me. I very respectfully said, stop talking over me. Folks, listen to me. I know how to deal with people in my space and on my panel. What's up, Walter? I know how to deal with folks in my space and on my panel. Back at you, LaMonica. Folks, let me just say this to you. You can say someone is a known Zio. I don't care. I do not care what someone is somewhere else, right? We're going to have, so I require how people behave in my space to be a certain way. What? Oh, here, Anaya. Hold on. Can you change her code from what Dominic's is to just, you know what I mean? Or take it off? Because that's what's happening.
Maybe.
Okay, mommy's fixing it. Appreciate it, Dr. Sims. So listen, folks. Appreciate it, be action. Things can coexist. Right? So he can absolutely be a Zionist, and he can absolutely be pro-trans, whatever, and want to design something for Pokemon. Those two things can coexist. He was not on my panel saying anything that was degrading to Palestinians or Muslims. He literally was talking about something that had to do with Pokemon. And this is what's really important for people to understand is I deal with people based on how they show up in my space, because I typically find that if there's a reason that people keep coming back to my space, they might think it's because of one thing, and really it's something else working in the background. I know how to handle my space and handle folks on my panel. When you call people names or when you throw accusations, it literally just made a situation 1,000 times worse than what it was. Please don't do that. Chase, put in the comments what you would like to talk about, please, because I had said that I was getting off the app. So I need you to type in the chat what it is that you would like to discuss, and then I can determine if today's the day for it. Chase, are you able to put in the comments what the subject matter is that you would like to discuss so I can determine if today's the day for it or not? You don't see him anymore, probably because I asked him to put it in the comments, which is why I asked him to put it in the comments. I mean, he's showing in my request queue, though. Well, thank you, Titan. Giggles, be careful at putting the D word in the chat, because TikTok will get me. Because they will say that I am soliciting outside of the app. So just be careful doing that. Chase follows illogical around. That's fine. Okay, does that make sense, people? What I'm sharing with you? Yeah. So, just to round it out, folks, if you're going to have a conversation about the Senate appropriations bill when it comes to the U.S. Armed Services Committee and Section 224, you need to tie it back to this document from the Heritage Foundation 100%, because it is, in fact, the Heritage Foundation dictating what they believe our relationship with Israel needs to be, and they believe that it needs to go from special relationship to strategic partnership. I disagree. I think that Americans should disagree and understand that it's a compromising of our national security, and it is another example of the United States of America putting Israel first and not America first. And so I think that it's donate, Betty. And so it's really important. And that would be the way that I would have this conversation if I were talking to a conservative / Republican / Trump supporter, is I would approach it from that perspective, right? Are you breaking my shit?
No, I just talking.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome, Cheryl. Okay. I think that's all that I've got for today. You laughing at me because I said, are you breaking my shit? Because my daughter's over there fixing something in the kitchen. Appreciate it, Scotty. Appreciate you. All right. Yep. I will see you all tonight. And that's another reason why I'm going to go, is because I have 6 hours before I need to have this meeting, and I need to finish graphics, and I need to eat something. Because all I had was my Belvita cranberry orange. I know that's my favorite. So I had those this morning, and I'm ready to eat lunch. So, all right. Love you, mean it. No time for a nap. I got graphics and all kinds of things. So, so no time for a nap, but that's okay. All right. Love you, mean it. And